Hey, I have 7 o'clock, so we'll call a meeting to order. Uh, this time I'll open the public hearing to hear public comments on the proposed changes to the land use ordinance. Jessica? He's gonna put it up on the screen. Okay, the first thing is shoreline zoning. This is a rehash of what we tried to do last year, no, 2 years ago, 2024, of disallowing medium and large scale solar in any of the shoreland zones or districts. And if you could go to the next page, Jessica. At the very bottom there, highlighted, it says medium scale ground mounted solar energy systems, and across the board there is no. The first two were always no. Now the last three districts are no. And the same thing with the next line, large scale ground mounted solar energy systems is no. That's what's highlighted. Any questions on that? As I say, this is what we tried to do in 2024. It was voted down due to confusion of not knowing really what was voting on. So, no questions on that? Great. Now, no, I got to close. Any other comments? I'll close the public hearing on the land use ordinance and open the public hearing on changes to the shoreland zone. Oh, that was shoreland. Oh, that was shoreland? Yes, now okay. LUO. Sorry. Now LUO. I just thought it would be easier to take the easy one first. All right. Well. Yes. Okay, the next one is for the land use ordinance. It's adding fire protection, which is a new section in there. Next page, Jessica. That's up, back one. Okay. 4.1.29 is a new section called fire protection, and that's under Article 4, general standards. Okay. We had the Knox box requirement in the first area of general standards under D there. That's crossed out because we're moving that to the fire protection section. Next page, Jessica. Okay, this is a new 4.1.29 fire protection general, and I'm going to let Steve ask Steve to discuss this. And this is 2 pages.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. So this section of the land use ordinance was a request from the fire department, so that the fire department can actually have the ability to review projects before they come to the planning board. And a lot of times, I had to make sure that I was here at the planning board meeting when the projects, and this allows that these larger projects that they talk to the fire department, we look at them, we review them, we look at access, because we obviously, if there's an emergency, we've got to get our vehicles in there, and our vehicles are not small. So we're going to look at that and make sure that they're providing us the proper access. And then water supply, and we all know that we need water in this town, and some of these structures that are going in are going to need some type of supplemental water in case they have a fire. It's not uncommon for fire departments in our area and most rural fire departments to actually run out of water initially. So if whatever they're putting in, if it has a significant life safety or other burdens that I see that's going to affect the fire department, I'm going to look at what kind of water we're going to need there at that particular property. And this allows us to review these projects and provide some recommendations to the planning board. The planning board can review them. They can decide not to implement them, but at least allows the fire department to get a look at these projects and see what kind of impact it's going to make on our fire protection. We are a volunteer fire department. We're not staffed full-time, so we have to take all those different variables into consideration.
One of the things that, another reason for doing this, implementing this, is that we would end up with applications and Steve would have comments during it and we'd have to do conditions at the end. So we would end up doing approval of the application with conditions. Then it would go to our CEO, Andy Chamberlain, for her to deal with. This way, it's dealt with largely before it gets to the planning board to review that application. And we hope that it'll cut down on confusion with conditions and having to do that.
Yep.
I have a question.
Sure.
State law requires planning board applications to be presented to the municipal clerk, who advertises and notices and forwards it to the planning board. Are you telling me we're not going to go by state law now?
I'm not exactly sure how that
That's how it works.
affects. No, how is this affecting that?
Well, are you saying that you're going to get this before it goes to the planning board?
We're going to asking the developer at least to have a conversation with the fire department, so they know what they may need to include, so that when
Well, how
it
are you
goes,
going to know that if I don't give you the application?
I am not looking at the application. I'm looking at their plans, what they're trying to do. Does that make sense?
No,
No.
sorry.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
The
No.
feeling was that if it's in the ordinance,
Mhm.
it's the responsibility of the applicant to read the ordinance
Well, that's
and
true.
to fill out the form where they check the boxes that say we're compliant with this
Mhm.
prior to coming to any of us. You know, the application should be more complete if the requirements are in the ordinance rather than not being in and it waits till we see it for the
Why
first
do you
time.
want to issue permit with conditions? Like you always have.
We've done that a lot.
Yeah.
And the problem also, if you remember one of the solar applications, they went beyond the 12 months.
Mhm.
And so it was totally kicked out.
Yeah.
We're trying to alleviate that as well, to not have conditions, to not have it go to Angie until it's approved.
Okay. So when I get an application for the planning board, I'm going to continue to do what I do and what I'm required to do by law.
Yes. Yep, no more, no less.
That's it. You guys figure it out in the background.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, so the hope is that we won't have to have these conditions listed, and John's shaking his head. I mean, we've done that for a long while.
Well, and I also want to, I mean, there's been times, and I think people have seen that my pager goes off, and if I'm here at the planning board meeting, I try to be here, but if the tones drop, I sometimes have to go, and so this will alleviate those conversations have already happened. I'll put that in writing, so the planning board has that, and therefore they're not waiting for me to come back, or worse, you gotta table it to the
Right.
next
Well,
month because I had to leave.
Having the
But-
requirements in here makes it clearer to the planning board what should be in the application.
Well, We'll see how people follow directions. Sorry.
Anybody have any questions?
I'm thinking of what Carol was saying, trying to. So when she gets an application, is there anything on the application that says that they have complied with the requirements?
I think
Yes.
that's something
Yes.
that, yes, yeah.
Absolutely. There on page 2 of the application, the applicant has to list setbacks and so on that they comply with.
Yeah,
And then when it comes to the planning board, this is not a good example of an application. They didn't do it correctly, but, we go through on the first page of the application, it says application review process. We have a completeness review, which the planning board does with the applicant. And then a compliance review after that. Both of those are done during the planning board's review with the applicant that night of the planning board meeting.
yeah, but what I'm trying to get at is, as part of the application, there should be a statement that says they have submitted the plans to the fire department for review.
Yes,
and
that's something that we are going, if this passes, then we're going to change the application. That was a conversation we had with Angie, that that's going to have to be added to that. But if it doesn't pass, then.
I understand,
Yeah,
but
so-
the,
But yes, that was a conversation we did have, that we would have to make sure that that, and then I have to give them something in writing as to. So that follows that application.
so that when Carol gets the application, she'll know that it's been reviewed by the fire department.
That would be correct.
Okay.
Yep.
That
Yep.
solves your problem, because you don't have to do anything
Yeah, I
until,
mean, and the way it stands now, I wouldn't have a clue.
yeah.
So, good.
Right.
Do we have to go to the town for a vote to change the application? Can it just be changed?
Now the planning board can
Okay.
take care of
On
that.
that question.
Do any other towns have this requirement in their LUO to draft this from another town, John?
I'm gonna say,
No.
if we didn't take it from another town, Angie actually, did some. Additional work, she called Maine Municipal, and, we went back and forth on the languages and stuff like that. There are a lot of towns that have a much more comprehensive fire protection ordinance. This is kind of, this is a step in the right direction, I think, John. So, without being nitpicky, this, that, and the other, so, yeah.
Any more comments?
Okay,
All right, thank you, everyone.
close the public hearing. And I'll open the public hearing on the citizens petition to allow retail sale of up to 2 retail cannabis establishments. Is there anyone from the citizens petition here to present that? Are there any comments on it?
We don't need that.
I have a number of comments, I guess. The first one is, like the solar ordinance petition from 2 years ago. Was there any thought to having the town's attorney review the language of this proposed ordinance before it goes to the vote?
No, we haven't done that.
I guess the next issue I have, and this is coming from being a retired physician, marijuana is not the benign drug that many of us think that it is. Up until 5 days ago, the Drug Enforcement Agency classified marijuana as a Schedule I drug, which has a drug that has the highest potential for abuse and potential to create severe psychological and or physical dependence, on the order of LSD and heroin. We go into the Trump's executive order that went into effect 5 days ago, but at least up until 5 days ago, it was.
Could you speak up so the microphone picks you up or come up to the microphone?
So again, up until 5 days ago, marijuana was considered a Schedule I drug because of its high risk for physical and psychological dependence. So I've been in contact with Gordon Smith, who's the director of the opioid response task force in Maine, to ask him what kind of problems they have seen with recreational marijuana. And he provided me with these following points regarding the health and safety concerns from from recreational marijuana use, primarily as it affects children. So number one, legalization of adult use of cannabis has resulted in a marked increase in both accidental and intentional use in children. ER visits for cannabis, and I'll use cannabis and marijuana interchangeably. The ER visits for cannabis and overdoses for all ages have increased since the drug was legalized. High call rates to poison control centers continue to occur despite regulations for child resistant packaging. Point number two, individuals who use cannabis by the age of 17 have higher odds of other drug use, alcohol dependence, and drug dependence than those who did not. So in 2023, 43% of 12th graders in Maine have admitted to using marijuana. 40% of adults in Maine use marijuana 20% on a daily basis. So it's a real problem. Marijuana use before age 18 is the highest risk factor for opioid disorder. Long-term use of THC, which is the active ingredient in cannabis and marijuana products, impairs brain development in children, lowers their IQ, decreases attention, concentration, memory, and learning. It increases anxiety, increases risk of suicide, and its use can cause psychosis. And it's been noted to be an independent causal factor in developing schizophrenia. In many studies, medical marijuana users were more likely to increase rather than decrease the use of opioids, either medically or non-medically. The evidence that marijuana can replace opioids for pain control is not there. It appears to be more of a companion drug rather than a substitution drug. Also, marijuana users have been shown to increase their need for post-operative pain medications than non-users. Their risks also increase, or their use increases the risk for complications of general anesthesia. Cannabis use during pregnancy impairs brain development of the fetus and increases the risk for autism. Other adverse effects in adults include development of chronic bronchitis and chronic smoking, impaired lung function, and increased risk of certain cancers. So I guess my point is there are some significant health and safety concerns with putting forth this petition. I think from a health and safety concern, I'm not even sure. I wonder if the select board has the right to even put it towards the vote with these points in mind. But if it does go towards a vote, I would be against supporting this petition. So based on these medical reasons.
Thank you. Other comments?
I had two questions. I don't see it addressing if there's more than two applicants. Maybe I missed it in the language, but would there be a lottery system or I think that could be a very real issue the select board would come across if this gets approved and it's not addressed in the language. I was also curious if the town is aware of or regulates THC drinks being sold at liquor license establishments. I know some towns are outlawing it altogether, but based on my understanding that there are THC drinks that are allowed to be sold at restaurants and bars that would be considered retail adult use. So it's something that the select board should consider.
Carrying off what Adam just said, I think the way this presented doesn't feel to me like the proper way to do this, because this was a what do you call it, a petition that garnered signatures, and now we are obligated, the town is obligated to put that up for a vote. And if the town votes against it, that's fine. If this is something the town wants to consider, I think this is an issue that should have been brought to the select board, the planning board, so the town could do research and examine many of these issues that were just brought up. And carrying off what Adam just said, this is very prescriptive. When I happen to have been here when they made their presentation, it's very prescriptive in terms of protecting their market by limiting it to 2. And I think, what if the town decided this was a great idea, we wanted to open it up, or is you suggest a lottery? I think this is, if it's something the town voters want to consider, I think we ought to find a way to take the time to do that. And also consider what's happening around us. I know somebody just told me the story what happened in Surrey, that it was several years ago that they passed an ordinance allowing it, and then fairly quickly decided they needed to institute a moratorium, so they had more time to study it. And the result of that was, in the end, they had another vote and decided to vote against it. I think being forced to present this as a petition referendum question is not a good way to approach this, and I think requires a lot of the thought and input that's been expressed.
Evidently, the folks that want this isn't really very interested, or they've been here to present it. And that kind of makes me think maybe they don't know what they're getting into. Maybe we should look and see, And I don't think it's for the town of Trenton.
It's already a marijuana store.
Medical.
This doesn't really specify one or the other, it just says marijuana.
No, it's retail sale.
All use recreation.
They're all retail.
Adult use recreational, not medical.
It's retail and medical is retail.
Yeah.
So would that mean 2 more in addition to what's existing now, or?
It could.
Or if the existing store counts as one more,
Well, we have 2 existing medical marijuana stores.
there are 2 here, okay.
Yeah, but how many?
What?
How many?
They're the ones
medical
They want
licenses?
They both hold licenses.
Governs their existence at the moment.
What governs,
Is there a licensing system for them,
through the state,
but not through the town?
they were allowed, under the land use ordinance, medical marijuana sales in the Gateway Center, right? The Gateway zone,
American Way.
That vacuum, that row where the vacuum cleaner store was, and then they moved.
yeah, but they're still in the Gateway zone, because it's from the Ellsworth line to the Jordan River Road. So they're both in that zone. Hmm?
Oh, you're thinking about Happier Choice, which was bordered American Way. And Alex's wife has a daycare. It's quite a ways in. I think it's in far enough that the state didn't find an issue with it.
I know as a responder and we've had folks out there on the roadway directing traffic. We've run into people who you can tell they're impaired. I'm not a real fan of having people have the ability to be more impaired. So, and especially being on the roadway. I know that doesn't mean they did it here. Obviously, they didn't do it here, but I've seen it and it does have concerns for me. So.
I would echo that, because again, coming as a physician in child development, pediatrician, I worked with kids who were substance exposed. And when the marijuana went through, it became even more difficult to protect children. Because the family, people would come in with their kids, their babies, they knew they were impaired. They were gonna leave. I called DHHS and said, what can I do? And they said, absolutely nothing, whether it's legal. And there's no standard. You might be able to, they might be able to be picked up by the police because they're distracted driving or whatever, but there's no legal limit. So we couldn't protect children. It was part of why I retired. It's I can't do this anymore. But I don't know how to protect children. I don't care what adults do. But there's children in mind or children involved. Well, that is a whole nother, well, of course, that's my life's work, but I think we need to think about the future. And do we want to be part of that challenge or advocate?
I'm not as well educated as some of the physicians are here on the use and side effects, but just looking at what's presented, I thought it was interesting. I noticed there's almost 2 sections of identical language requiring access for law enforcement. It even references the Trenton Police Department, which is, so now we're putting burden on the sheriff's department, which is already stretched thin, to become, you know, regulators or enforcers of this ordinance, so.
Oh, is that gonna pay for Trenton Police?
There's no way to test,
Some standards.
there's no standard, there's no way to test if they're under the influence. I don't know. Unless they vote.
There are ways of testing coming out.
Horizontal gaze, nystagmus.
No, oral fluid testing, state police is already into that.
Do they have a level? Do they have a level that's allowed like alcohol?
Oh, I think it's a 0 tolerance. I mean, there is a level, either
Zero?
0 or not.
Oh, so you have traces.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Hmm.
I'll go with
It's a
that.
step in the right direction.
No problem.
You can certainly protect the kids if the kids have gotten into the parents' gummies or something like that.
You think we can?
Yeah, you can
That
file
not
on,
based on the
you can
data,
file on that.
yes. But it'd be nice to avoid all the data that is concerning.
Any other comments?
So just all the arguments that are made pro and con for marijuana could just as easily be applied to alcohol.
Mhm.
Okay. And so like. It's more of a cultural decision than a medical decision.
Yep.
Okay.
Hearing no more comments. Close the public hearing. And call the Board of Selectmen's meeting to order. Any comments from visitors?
Aye.
On the approval of the agenda, we have an application for renewal of a liquor license. Tavern at Timberland LLC. We'll add that under other business.
Do we have that?
You don't have it, I just got it today.
Okay.
Can
I'm
we
go-
approve that without?
Yes,
Yeah, motion to approve.
No, I'm gonna put it on, this is adjustments to the agenda
Oh, okay, so we'll do that later,
under other business.
okay.
Approval of minutes of April 14th.
Approve the minutes of April 14th as corrected. Um. Just change Zoom to Zoom.
okay. Where is it? What?
It
Right at
says,
the top?
Thome, Jared Collins, Emily Muse, Sam Hughes, and Sean Farah.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
I don't know if you want to put this into the comments under B.
I can't hear you.
I don't know if you want to put this into the comments under B, but the school board is supposed to be getting back to us, the chair with the numbers. They said they did the research for the numbers and they're gonna get them to Mr. Z. Supposed to let us know.
I will probably not be able to put anything in there. In the minutes on what you said, because I can't hear anybody when I play this back.
Yeah.
Grab that microphone and speak into it, please.
Are they not on, you think?
Well, they're not on if you're whispering.
It's funny, that one picks up really well. These don't pick up very well at all, for some reason.
I know, but you can speak louder.
Yeah,
Right, you got what I said?
No,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I
All
didn't.
right. School board is supposed to be getting back to the select board with the numbers from Mr. Z, because they believe that they did the research. Yeah. For the cost analysis. And sharing of services for Lemoyne and Hancock.
So they're giving you figures on what that would look
So
like?
they did the research.
They did.
Yes, so we're waiting for that to come back.
Oh, all right.
That's why we tabled it.
motion to approve as amended.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye,
Opposed? Motion carries. Fire department.
Good evening, everyone. We continue to be busy. We have some hose testing that's coming right up here in a couple weeks. In May, so you'll probably see some activity on the Salton Sandy Way. We're gonna clean that all off, spray that down so that when we roll the hoses back up, we don't get a bunch of dirt and sand and stuff, rocks into the hoses, so that's coming up, so real soon. The ladder was sent out for its annual pump and ladder maintenance. I'm happy to say that it came back, it passed, which is fantastic. Let's see, as I mentioned last time we were together, we have been seeing the wildland threat continue to be between moderate and high. And so just ask people to just be mindful, if you burn on a moderate day, you cannot burn until after 5 o'clock. That's the requirements. And obviously there's no burn permits on a high fire day. No, but with that, does anybody have anything for me? Yes, John.
do we have a breakfast schedule?
We
Yeah.
we do. It's actually in the town report.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
It's coming up in June.
And that's probably Kevin's last breakfast, isn't
That's
it?
Kevin's last breakfast is June, yeah.
Yeah.
He said he's gonna come back, we'll see. We'll see how what happens there. Anything else? from Selectmen?
Thank you, chief.
All right, hearing none. I'm gonna excuse myself because I have a plumbing issue at home. I gotta take care of it. Thank you, everyone. I'm sure it will. I got all the parts.
We have no old business on the new business. We have the application of
Timberland.
Tavern at Timberland LLC.
Motion to approve?
Discussion?
Yep.
renewal. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. Evidently, we don't have any warrants to sign tonight.
Oh, no, I didn't bring those in, did I?
No.
You have to guess what they are. Guess what we're spending our money on.
How can we find out if they're selling drinks with? Yes, interesting. How can we find that out? I mean, isn't that something that's?
What's the question?
How do you find out if there's drinks with
THC,
THC? in it?
Right on the label.
yeah, it would, but
If we're doling out licenses for them to be able to sell for the liquor license. Are they?
No, that's a different issue. What he was referring to was the retail sale of drinks. But it's not the same THC that is in cannabis. It is a modified, chemically modified. So it shows up in some of the soft drinks that you can buy, and it says right on the can you have to be 21. And the state, I believe, just passed legislation regulating that. Because we talked about that at the League of Towns last year. And there was a question of what we were gonna do about it, and then the state adopted legislation, but I don't know what the LD number is.
But we should look into it.
Hmm?
We should look up the legislation and understand it and understand what we have here.
Well, there was the THC that's in these soft drinks and gummies that you can buy at a convenience store. Supposed to be 21, and it was not regulated under the current cannabis laws in the state of Maine. But supposedly they've addressed that issue.
Right.
So I don't know how they're gonna enforce it. But that's up to the state to figure that one out.
Cannot regulate anything that's sold at the convenience stores. I mean, because there's all kinds of stuff being sold at gas stations and convenience stores that is impairing.
I'm not aware of anything.
'Cause, I mean,
And if you was, how do you enforce it?
well,
How do you know?
and they keep tweaking the molecules, so,
Yeah.
but. I don't know, I just don't know whether do you have the authority to do that?
Well, I
Do
feel
you
like
have
it's
the
being
authority?
put into town hands and it shouldn't be in town hands. I mean, they shouldn't have to be responsible for
Well,
that.
You can have a dry town and not sell alcohol in town, and that would apply, right? You could in theory.
Yes, because you have to have a license from the state to sell alcohol. These products were not regulated by any state regulation.
Friend AI says currently hemp derived THC drinks are sold in general retail. However, by late 2025 or 2026, the combination of federal action and state legislation is shifting these products to either be banned or restricted to licensed dispensaries, effectively closing the loophole that allowed their rapid growth in Maine. Town of Mount Desert also put a voluntary ban. So the select board basically asked their liquor licensed establishments not to participate in the retail sale.
well done. Is that like the Willie's stuff that you see they advertising all the time? Willie Nelson's,
I don't know, but
there's ads, don't be hungover and drink Willie's.
that's right. I do think it has to do with whether it's hemp derived or.
It's chemically
cannabis.
modified.
Yeah.
Motion to approve AP and payroll.
Right on it. A second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Another time for Bob in the library.
Yes.
And on a side note, the elected officials meeting for the League of Towns, they've changed the date from the 26th to the 28th.
Wow.
May 28th is the new date. Same place, just different day.
Is that neighborhood house?
Yeah, in Mount Desert or Northeast Harbor. What? Northeast Harbor.
Big question is, who's catering?
I don't know.
Why'd you say?
Who did it last?
I don't know.
It was good.
They did a good job. Probably it's the same people. They do most of the catering there, I understand.
Does Judy have updates?
I do. Just quickly, the Community Resilience Partnership, we were officially accepted into the program. We got notification of that. And now Jana is gonna work with Steve to start work on writing that grant, which will be due in June. And as far as the comp plan work, last week was the school vacation week, so we weren't expecting anything to happen, but we need to set a date.
Thank you. Hallelujah.
Okay.
Motion, to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned.